It's Jessica Schab, and I'm here with Kelly Sammy, my wonderful good friend and sister. And I shared her video just recently on her near-death experience, and it was just a really incredible video. It got a lot of great responses, and so I thought, hey, it would be really wonderful to have her share that story again here, where we can expand on it a bit more even. And so, Kelly, thank you so much for being here with me.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited.
So, would you like to share with everybody your journey into awakening and what brought you onto the path that you are on now and the kind of work that it led you to, the understanding that it led you to? Because you have your third eye open, correct? So you can see the other realms and dimensions.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, February 9th of 2008 is when this all began, and it began with me committing suicide. I had gone through a tremendous amount of things and had really attached to a belief that I was a victim of life. Everything that came into my experience, I looked at it as happening to me, and I know many can probably relate to that, especially when you have this awakening. You then look back and go, wow, how did I ever see life that way?
Mm-hmm. And what advice would you have for people who are in that state of mind? Because I'm sure you come across it to this very day, and you cannot help but share something with them to help them see that that's really not the case, or that's not what life is about or meant to be.
I think the biggest thing I can tell people is that we do not create our thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts just arrive. We have only one choice in this experience, and that's to believe them or not.
Mm-hmm.
So in my victimhood, I believed every one of my thoughts. Look back, as experiences happened, those thoughts still come in my experience today, the thought that this should not be happening. So what I have a choice to do now is believe that or not. And of course, my first question is that true? And the response is always no. That this should be happening. And how I know that is because it is, right? It's happening. So my car breaks down. Well, it's happening. So I have two choices, to be angry or just say, there's a reason for this, and I trust the process of life because it's always unfolding divinely for me. I can't see the whole of it yet. So that would be my only advice, is to just breathe and not resist in this and know that whatever's happening is for my best good.
Yeah, I see thoughts like fishes in the sea as well. Each one is an individual fish. You don't need to attach to it and think it's the end-all be-all, because they are also broadcasted to us and bombarded upon us, right?
Right.
And just that detachment, it makes a big difference.
Right. Just see it as what it is. It's separate from me. It's not who I am. It's just a trickle in my experience, like a raindrop. And I don't cause the rain to fall from the sky, but I'm aware of it. And the same with the thoughts. I don't cause them to drop into my experience, but I am aware of it.
Life is really challenging, and there's nothing we're given that we can't handle. And because life is really challenging for all of us, then we must be masters, right? We did not beat 500 million sperm for nothing. We won that race, so it's obviously something very important we came here to do. You are a winner. Because so many people think I'm a loser, I'm a failure, I don't deserve to be here, and all that kind of thinking that, lost in that moment, thinking that it will always be that way, when it's essentially it does change.
Absolutely.
The gray clouds, eventually there will be the sunny sky again. So, anyway, Sorry, continue. I just wanted to elaborate because I know that people loved your story, your interview so much that they asked me to ask certain questions as well along the way. So
that's fine. So in my belief of all of this suffering, I came to a place where I really truly believed, my physical mind believed that I would be doing everyone a favor if I were not here physically. Even my beautiful son, who I can't imagine not being part of my experience, I believed he would be better off without me. So I overdosed on pills and I killed myself. And I was successful in that endeavor, and I was dead for over 18 minutes that they're aware of. In that experience, I witnessed my body, my physical body, die. Because there is no death, I'm an eternal being. What I saw was the physical body letting go of me as a soul. I did this endeavor in my car because I didn't want my family to have to deal with the aftermath. So I drove to a very remote place, and I did this in a car. And I was not wanting to cry out for help. This was not a find me victim thing. This was, I wanted to die. I made all of the right things. I put all of the right things in place to do this. I had 28 pages of suicide note. The top page was to the person who would have to take care of my body and apologizing to them. It's just all of the intricacies that I had planned for, and collecting the pills for weeks before this, and really just planning the whole thing out.
Wow.
So when I died or transitioned, the soul literally left the body, or this formless part of myself was above it, and the top of my SUV was gone. And I was witnessing my human self in the body deteriorating. I saw the body moving, I saw the body reacting, but I was no longer in it, feeling any of that. I witnessed the body repel the death, really struggling to try and stay here. I saw the gasping of the breath. I saw all of this, but I felt none of it. I was not part of it anymore.
Kelly.
So I think that helps people who are experiencing watching someone die that seem to be struggling so much, and I tell them they're not there anymore. They're not feeling that. Yeah, I know it's hard to hear. It's hard to hear. It's even hard to tell that because I go right back there and I see it, and it's very real. But yet, as soon as that was happening, I had no attachment to the physical body. It was like I knew that I didn't need to stay there. There was no tie to it. And I don't remember seeing the body stop moving. It was still going on when I felt this pressure pulling me. And again, pressure is the wrong word, and pulling is the wrong word, because there's no words here to describe what I felt. There's just not. So I'll use the words that make sense from a human level, just so that you can experientially feel it with me. But there was this pulling upward, if you will, and this loud popping sound going on. But it wasn't outside of me. It was like I was it. I was popping. I was cracking. I was being pulled. There was no one with me. There was no one guiding me or leading me. There was no one that greeted me. But there was also no fear of this. There was like a knowing that all was as it should be, and I just relaxed into that. There was never a thought, because there's no thinking that's happening anymore, that this shouldn't be happening, or what's happening with my body, or, oh my gosh, the loved ones I've just hurt. None of that's going on. Just a complete acceptance of the experience.
Kelly, why do you think some people have near-death experiences and others don't? Because not everybody gets to have these kind of experiences. Sometimes people just say there's nothing. There's just blackness and that's it.
I was shown, and I believe this from my own experience, that we have happen what we expect to have happen. So...
Uh-oh. Froze.
What I mean by that is, you hear a lot of people talk about this tunnel, and I think that they've heard about this tunnel for so long that when they have this experience, they create that for themselves. That some people have a fear that there's a hell, and so they create that for themselves. Some people have a fear that we die and we go into a box in the ground, and so that's their experience. And I truly, truly believe that we experience what we expect to experience. For me, in the last minutes before I left my physical body, I was praying. I was saying over and over in my head, this isn't the end, I know there's more. I remember saying it over and over in my head, this isn't the end, I know there's more. And in fact, I don't tell many people this, but in my last moments before I left my physical body, I just kept checking in, am I still breathing? Because I had felt my body slow down. I had put my body into respiratory failure with these medications, and I just kept checking in, am I still breathing? Am I still breathing? So even in my last moments, there was no fear. I knew there was something else. I knew that there was not this vengeful, sin-created God that was going to send me to this place because I had killed myself. I knew and trusted there was something else. So I really believe that that's why it was beautiful for me, because that's what I expected.
Interesting.
That's what I expected. So next was this feeling of just going into this nothingness. Everything was dark, but it wasn't scary. It wasn't fearful. Again, there was never any thinking that this shouldn't be happening or that I should be somewhere else. It was just an ease into it and just a letting go and kind of a relaxation of being released from the body. There was no more pain and there was no more suffering. It was just peaceful, yet there was nothing. The eyes did not see anything because there were no eyes. It was just, I was all of it and in this space of blackness. There was still a sensation of being pulled or lifted, if you will, and it had slowed down, and all of a sudden I was in this presence of being everything, and it was the most beautiful shade of pink I have ever experienced. I just can't find it. I've tried mixing paints to recreate it. I've tried blending things. I just can't recreate it because it's not something we experience here.
New colors.
Yeah, and I wasn't seeing it. I was it. So it wasn't linear like we experience here where you look at something flat and go, oh, look at that beautiful pink. I was it.
You were that color, and you feel it, you taste it, you touch it. It invokes all the senses.
Absolutely.
My dad would talk about the other colors and the other realms and dimensions too. He would talk about metallic greens and metallic blues, and I would try to visualize it, but it was never, couldn't pale in comparison to what you experience when you become that color, or when you experience it, I guess. Because even Akian would say when she went to heaven, when she bilocated to heaven, she was able to, that child prodigy artist, by the way, that was on Oprah, she said, not only could I see colors, I could taste them, I could smell them, I could eat them, I was color.
Yes.
So just all very shamanic kind of a thing. This is a shamanic explanation as well. And
yeah.
Also going back to what you were saying as far as what you believed you were going to have a beautiful experience, and so you did. I find that this has to have something to do with when we astral travel, because everybody astral travels every night. Everybody dreams every night, and some people get to remember it, and some people don't. Some people remember hovering over their body and looking at themselves and going through walls and going to places and being conscious of it, like in a dream, and others don't. And belief does play a part, but if it's also, do you feel that when people have their death experience, that if they believe that they're going to go to heaven or hell, or if you're an atheist, then nothingness, and you just end up doing the transition anyway, or playing out that movie to make you think that's happening, but you transition? Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm getting at?
Yeah. So what I was shown is even the person who doesn't believe that there's more than this, they'll experience that for a very, very short time.
Okay.
Time being non-existent there, but there will be this brief, if you will, experience of that nothingness. So maybe that black area that I went into, they may stay there for a while, or some people may have this vision of this tunnel or whatever. We cannot be held back from the amount of love that is there. So even if the belief is that there's a hell and there is a brief experience of that, no one will stay stuck there, because the love is just too overpowering to have that experience be all that they have. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense, and I know we are loved beyond comprehension, and we're all family, and nobody gets left behind, and we're not judged by what we do here. We're told a whole bunch of hoopla while we're here, but that's not the case, and we find that out once we transition.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. And there are people that are intended to have this experience of nothingness or hell or scariness, because that is their experience. And we're here in this place of duality, so we still have to have that. We have to, right? Until we're not in this duality, we're going to have contrast.
Mm-hmm. And that's how you know the difference between the two, right? We can't know light without dark.
Right. So
continue on with your journey. You're at the tunnel, the dark tunnel.
So from the darkness up into this beautiful pink that I became, all of it was just this knowing that I was part of God. I was I was not separate from God. It was just this complete feeling that I was everything. I was all of it.